Arsenal lose to Tottenham at White Hart Lane. Let's get into it. Before I do that, I just want to say thank you to Exquisite Smoke that are sponsoring this video. And yeah, look, I'm really disappointed today. Really gutted. Ultimately, my food's ready. Ultimately, Arsenal can still finish top four by just doing the job that we need to do. Simple as that. That for me is the takeaway of today. And for that reason, I don't think any Arsenal fan right now should be going on at Arteta, going on at Holding, going on at Cedric, losing your mind. This, after a defeat like that, where, let's face it, the referees played a massive part, don't let anyone twist the story of this game. If anyone talks about this game and doesn't talk about the impact that the officials had on the game, they are not giving you a fair reflection of what took place in those 90 minutes. Simple as that. For people that have watched me for years talking about Arsenal at full time, you'll know that I don't often go to the refs. I always try and look at our players. And yeah, there is something to be said for our players, there is something to be said for our manager, but the absolute story of this game was the officiating today. Paul Tierney was awful. I cannot believe that red card, that penalty. For the red card, actually I accept that. Whether you like it or not, to hear this as an Arsenal fan, if you're watching this and you don't think it was a red card, put it in the comments below and tell me why you think it wasn't a red card. As far as I'm concerned, Rob Holding has let me down there, because if you defend properly, especially when you're on a yellow card, you just track the run or you play him offside. What he was trying to do there on a yellow card, heads absolutely gone. It was a stupid thing to do. But by that point, we're already 1-0 down, and the referee has given one of the softest penalties I've ever seen. I promise you, you can watch that game watch that 90 minutes another time, and you will see countless examples of like that sort of minimal contact on a player all over the pitch. Every single time a goalkeeper kicks it long, that happens between players. I cannot believe that was given as a penalty. You know, often around a pitch you'll see fouls, and people know it's like this unspoken rule in football. It's got to be a foul to be given a free kick anywhere on the pitch, but to be given a penalty, it's got to be a foul. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. It's got to be a capital F foul. That was so soft. That was just unbelievably soft. I cannot believe he gave that. After he gave that, I was expecting him to give 20 others just like that all around the pitch every time someone has an aerial challenge. I'm not saying Cedric was well positioned. I'm not kind of freeing him of all blame. He's given the referee like a little tiny percentage of a decision to make, and that referee has taken that 2% and made it 100 and gone and given that penalty. To the extent that if he didn't give that penalty, I do not think a single Tottenham player would bother appealing. I don't think anyone would be going up to the ref saying, "Oh, come on, that's a blatant penalty." They just would have got on with the game. I cannot believe the referee gave that as a penalty. For me, that is a disgraceful decision. And people talk about, oh, VAR's never going to overturn it. I'm sorry. To me, this season, as an Arsenal fan, it feels like the amount of times VAR has screwed us over. And a time like that when, come on, the whole point of VAR is to come to the right decision, right? I understand there's got to be clear and obvious error that the ref, for it to overturn the ref's decision. But honestly, I'm so sick of being on the wrong side of VAR all the time. And then you see rubbish like that. The referees ruined the game today. And yes, Rob Holding wasn't good enough, especially in that red card moment. Cedric, you know, let's talk about Cedric. Before the game, one thing I was saying, as an absolute necessity, I want an East Asia derby in that game today. I want Tomiyasu versus Son. That's what I wanted to see. Mikel Arteta made a massive mistake by putting Cedric against Son, and we paid for it. But the fact of the matter is, am I going to start now throwing my toys out the pram and getting on the team's back? Absolutely not. This defeat was more down to the referees than any player, in my opinion. And let me know in the comments below if you disagree with me, because I know our players didn't exactly cover themselves in glory. I know our players didn't. It's hard to come up with anyone that really had a very good game, but that for me was as a consequence of what the officials did in that game. Had they just let that be in a game, I think that could have been a classic. a really high stakes North London derby that could have been an absolute classic, but they absolutely ruined it. As far as I'm concerned now, Tottenham can enjoy the day. Arsenal need to make sure we enjoy the season. If Tottenham win today, fine, have your fun, you can give us all the stick in the world, that's absolutely fine by me. As long as Arsenal go and get the results against Newcastle and against Everton. That's the main thing for me now. Yeah, you can have your moment in the sun, but ultimately we're going to be top 4 at your expense. That's what we need to do, at Tottenham's expense. How sweet will that be? Just put your minds forward 2 weeks. If we beat Newcastle, beat Everton, just go and have proper performances, dispatch those teams, make it regulation, then we will be laughing at Tottenham. And that is exactly what we need to do. It will absolutely destroy me if we let it slip from here. A whole season wasted. 6 years we've been out of the Champions League. And the difference in what will happen in terms of Tottenham potentially keeping Son, Kane and adding quality because of the Champions League money versus Arsenal not being able to add real quality, I worry that a gap will start to emerge. Right now, Arsenal and Tottenham, it's all about who gets that Champions League spot. It has to be us. Has to be us. Another thing you're going to hear a lot about after this result is Conte versus Arteta. Anyone that tries to claim that you can read into this result to talk about Conte versus Arteta, who's a better manager, nonsense. This was about who was a bad referee. Nothing more. It was not about managers or players. This one was about the referee. If the referee kept it a sensible game, didn't give that penalty, wasn't such a blatant home team ref, as I said, I think that game could have been decent. Enough of that now. I'm not going to dwell on this result. I wasn't nervous before the game because I knew Arsenal could afford to lose and it's still in our hands. So all we need to do is go and do the business in 2 more games and that's it. So forget about this result, draw a line under it. I hope that's what Mikel Arteta are going to be doing. I heard his post-match press conference or post-match interview. He seems very, very aggrieved. I'm sure he shares my sentiments and I'm sure a lot of your sentiments in terms of being very annoyed with the refereeing. But the other thing I want to talk about is the absolute disgrace that is what happens to fans, to Arsenal fans who come to away games at White Hart Lane. I'm going to share some footage at the end of this video, so make sure you watch that, just to give you a flavour if you don't know what it's like to come to White Hart Lane. This has been happening at the old White Hart Lane, and now it happens at the new Toilet Bowl as well. Tottenham don't seem to give a crap. They do not seem to care. In the footage you'll see, there's an Arsenal fan, Daniel Bailey. A lot of you might know him. He's blind, and you might notice someone like kind of quite in a bit of distress, turning away, going the opposite direction from the crowd with someone else trying to help them out. That was Daniel Bailey. It's so unfair to throw bottles and coins and cans and all of the nonsense that happens. And you don't know who you're going to affect. This is not fair game. This is not a case of like one group giving it to another group or one person, running their mouth against another person and sort of asking for trouble or sort of, wanting that sort of trouble. These are normal people, women, children, fans of, in wheelchairs, everything, and they're being targeted like this. It's an absolute disgrace, and Tottenham Hotspur need to do something about it. And if they're not going to do anything about it, there needs to be some action taken, because it's just so unfair. It's absolutely rubbish that this happens relentlessly. This is a new stadium, and what has been done to ensure the safety of away fans, it's an absolute joke. I saw one guy walking up to the stadium, just his cut, bleeding. Was it a bottle? Was it a coin? Who the hell knows? But how is that acceptable? I find it so stupid. In this capital city, people are getting stabbed every single day, yet the number of policemen and policewomen at the ground today is an absolute joke that fans can't just grow up and just go watch a game of football. It's absolutely stupid. And the police need to do a better job as well, because I know they do their best when they're here, but they're not set up for success and trying to police this game in a way that keeps fans safe. It's just an absolute joke. Tottenham need to do something. They need to be held to account. Watch this footage if you think what I'm saying is an exaggeration, and let me know what you think of this in the comments below, whether you knew this is what it's like or whether you're surprised. Until next time, I'll see you later. Must win against Newcastle, must win against Everton. Stick with this team, stand behind this team, believe in them, and we can do this together.
What do you think of Tottenham?